This week, McGregor meets Putin. We look back at the UFC from the weekend. We look ahead to the UFC coming this weekend. We speak with referee Daniel Movahedi. And we look back at MMA history, UFC 100 with Brendan Dorman.
Frank Mir had a horseshoe up his ass. I told him that a year ago. I pulled that sumbitch out and I beat him over the head with it.
Brock Lesnar 2 weeks in a row.
Twice. He's the draw.
You are a fanboy.
He's the draw.
Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk, episode 115. This is Noel O'Keefe and I'm joined as always by the does not miss a show, Robert Palin.
How's it going, man? How are you?
I'm very well, Robert. If you've missed a show, that's probably because you're not subbed. Brilliant. So why not now subscribe? Hit that subscribe button below. And if you're listening on audio, we're also available on Spotify, so get on there too. I actually really like Spotify. It's real crystal
Spotify's
sound.
Great, yeah.
If you're not a Spotify fan, also Podcast Republic is also another great app. Get on there. We're featured there too. Hit there, hit like, hit subscribe, hit a review. Only if it's 5 stars. Don't be giving less than 5 stars. Shout out to Fight Star Ireland, MMA Mix, and to feelsupreme.co.uk. We're back in studio, second week in a row. A little bit of consistency here, Robert.
We're getting back on the horse.
Back on
as
the
they say.
horse with a long...
As they say. I don't know who they are, but for some reason they say it.
Obviously, Fight Talk Quickfire News. As always, we'll start us off. We'll then be recapping UFC Fight Night 133. We'll look ahead to UFC Fight Night 134. You guessed it. We'll also have... This is a long-standing guest / host of the show, Daniel Movahedi. And weirdly enough, Daniel, when he comes on, we always grab him and put him in referee's corner and say, why did he do that? Why didn't he do that?
Yeah.
Why are referees terrible and all that sort of stuff. And we really put Dan on the spot. But one thing we never do is we never really talk to Daniel Movahedi about Daniel Movahedi.
Yeah, who's the man behind the man?
So Dan went from obviously a terrible fighter. Sorry, a fighter.
Jesus Christ.
Daniel went from a fighter himself into refereeing, and of course if you follow the show you'll have seen our post about Daniel refereed at UFC Liverpool. So he's climbed from getting into it. So I want to talk to him about how you go from being a fighter and then move into refereeing and to get to the highest levels, what's required and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to talking to Mova about that. And then this week in MMA history we will be looking back, and Brendan is going to join us for that.
Can't wait for this
Historic week in MMA. Back in 2009, will I give the full clue?
Yes, give it, yeah.
UFC 100 took place on July 11th, 2009. An absolute epic card. We'll have to go into it a little bit more detail on what it meant. And it was a huge event really for the UFC. But let's jump into the quickfire news. This is where we get 2 minutes on the clock. You will be glad to know if you were listening last week and you loved the bell. The bell is still here. We're going to make it stay. Bellator 203 went down on Saturday night in Rome, Italy, and saw Patricio Freire successfully defend his featherweight championship in a rematch with Daniel Movahedi by decision. Will Fleury also made his Bellator debut but lost by knockout in the first round against the heavy hitter in Alen Amadovsky. After the event, promoter Scott Coker said his dream events for Bellator, get ready for it folks, would be to hold a show on a naval aircraft carrier for the troops and at the Coliseum. He also said that he'll talk business with boxing promoter Eddie Hearn when they meet at the DAZN launch conference this week. What's your thoughts on the naval stuff?
It's the most Bellator thing I've ever heard. Like, somebody, you get Dana White and say about 3-4 years ago, whenever it was, you'll say to him, what's your dream event? Where are you going to hold your dream event? I'm going to say Madison Square Garden. Or if you're from Dublin or something, Crow Park. We're going to do Crow Park. Scott Coker with Bellator. Some naval carrier.
UFC have done a lot of fights for the troops and stuff like that. But they go to the bases and stuff like that. I'd imagine it'd be quite weird for fighters.
Strange.
Going and... Because I'd imagine you'd have to arrive a little bit early. Going the likes of cutting weight.
What would the altitude be like?
I don't know. But it's a weird one, isn't it? But just talking obviously about the show. Will Fleury, unfortunately, was on the end of a knockout. I say unfortunately because I like Will. I know Will personally. He's a really nice guy, and we had him on the show last week, and you know, the one thing I said is he earned every inch of his career so far. And I can see Will posted very positively after as well.
Yeah. You like to see good guys do well.
Do well, yeah.
And I'm sure the other guys are good guys as well.
As I was watching it, I was like, oh no, not just for the knockout. I obviously knew the knockout happened because I was working on Saturday at Celtic Clash boxing event. So I knew the result as I was watching the footage, but the oh no came from me because he got a goldie just like that. No.
Yeah.
But Will be back. I've no doubt in that. His mentality, as we were speaking of last week, I don't think is questionable. What do you think? Quickly, you have 30 seconds to talk about Eddie Hearn.
I don't like it. I really don't like when, especially like big MMA events. I don't mind when it's a local thing and you do boxing and MMA or kickboxing and MMA. Yeah. I'm not really even a huge fan of the kickboxing and Bellator MMA. I thought the first event was okay, but I just keep sports separate.
Then you look great and come down. I say pick a sport in your martial art and go with that.
for it. Yeah,
because
I don't like it.
Like if I'm going, like I don't know, it can be a crossover. But
there's definitely a crossover.
MMA, I want to see MMA.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible.
Great stuff.
It's terrible. I think we'll get the right one back. Conor McGregor is the centre of more controversy this week after posing with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the World Cup final. McGregor was reportedly invited as Putin's guest, but it was his comments praising the controversial Russian president that angered many fans. In an Instagram post, he said, quote, "Today I was invited to the World Cup final as guest of Russian President Vladimir Putin. This man is one of the greatest leaders of our time, and I was honoured to attend such a landmark event alongside him. Today was an honour for me, Mr. Putin. Thank you and congratulations on an amazing World Cup." What's your thoughts on McGregor's comments, and were they simply a shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is expected to fight next?
Politics is a weird one because I'm going to say, and people, you don't know. Like Putin, man's a lunatic, but he's got his country best at heart. Like he rules with an iron fist.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't really want to get into too much.
No, I don't want to get into the politics. But as in talking about Conor, brilliant play. He's gone.
Oh, it is a brilliant
If you look at Khabib after his victory,
was there as well.
Yeah, remember like Khabib was saying, he spoke Russian and he was like, "Hey, what did you say?" "Oh, my brother's not well.
Yeah, he wanted
I hope he gets well."
Yeah,
and so he basically was saying to Putin, "Get me mate out of prison." Like, Conor's shaking hands with Putin and probably flogging him some McGregor whiskey while he's there.
Probably.
So from that side, absolute gold by Conor McGregor to go. What a life the man lives. He was at Longitude at the weekend. For listeners outside here, Longitude is like a music festival here in the summer. And he was at Longitude. There's pictures all over the internet of him with like I don't know, I'm too old to know the rappers' names and stuff. Yeah. They were all back in the studio and all that. And Conor's back there with them. So that was like
Migos.
Friday or Saturday.
Migos.
So he obviously just got the call from Putin and private jetted over with
it's so strange.
Keep afloat. Artem Lobov was there.
What a strange life that he lives. Without getting into too much politics, I think it's a bad move PR perspective, just because Putin is very publicly against homosexuals. So just
Paddy Power, 10 grand for every goal Russia scored.
Just from McGregor's past kind of. I don't think it was anything bad, but he had a couple of comments that people construed as bad. But I just think it's bad for PR in that way.
Reading into it, I think a bit too much.
I'm not saying I'm reading into it, and I feel like that's a bad thing. I feel like other people read into it, and it'd be a bad PR move. But I think it's brilliant for Khabib because Khabib was at the event in his home country and wasn't there with Putin where McGregor was. It's kind of a little slap in the face.
I think it was gangster.
It was a bit gangster. But that's awful.
I love it.
It's never going to get better.
Anthony Pettis was back in the win column at UFC 226, and on Sunday he made 2 call-outs on Twitter that might interest you. He tweeted, "Yo, Alaquinta, I'm down to fight. UFC said you are out indefinitely. Nate Diaz, what's up? Don't be scared, homie." God, everyone uses it, don't they? Hashtag Team Pettis. Hashtag fuck the Diaz brothers.
What a hashtag? Is that trending or what?
Which fight makes most sense for Pettis next?
For me, the most sensical, if that's a word, would be probably, to be honest, it's Nate Diaz, really. Like, as in their names, I think Pettis and Nate Diaz probably make sense, but it doesn't make sense in terms of, I don't think Nate Diaz would take it. But also, Aloy Quintas coming off a loss. I know it wasn't an interim title fight against Khabib, but he's coming off a loss, so the UFC don't like doing that either. The one that makes most sense though is that Dan Hooker actually replied to that comment and said, fight somebody that actually wants to fight. Which I like that fight a lot. Dan Hooker versus Anthony Pettis.
In the same thing, Anthony Pettis is probably looking at Dan Hooker and going, right, you're on a bit of a winning streak, but you're not a name.
Yeah.
He's calling out 2 good names there.
Yeah,
Alec Winter just coming off a title fight, so although he lost, it's still a good call out.
Yeah.
Nate Diaz, look, I don't think Nate's coming back anyway.
I don't think so either.
He's gone, as in... You've Nick who said he's not coming back, and then next he's calling out fucking Daniel Cormier.
The thing is, what I mean by that is just based on their names, based on where they are in their careers. That makes the most sense for both of them. If you get mad,
do you know what should really happen? A matchmaker should say, Rob, you're fighting Brendan.
Okay.
Brendan, you're fighting Rob.
And then they sign on the
and then they
line.
sign it. And then you just fight.
Yeah.
Call me old-fashioned. But, Sean Shelby's job as a matchmaker helps when fighters help and do these type of things, and there's natural beef and all. But
natural beef.
This social media malark and all this tweeting and Bebo facing and all this sort of stuff. Just fucking sign the contract and fight each other. You can see why Pettis is doing it. They're decent names to call out. Who else is there to fight for him really? In and around that way, you've got.
I think Dan Hooker's a good one, just because Pettis said he doesn't want to fight wrestlers. Dan Hooker's not going to wrestle with him. He's going to strike on him. So there you go. There you go. Dustin Poirier's fighting Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, winner of that.
Winner of that.
Fight.
Fair enough. Jesus,
it's the greatest bell ever.
Next up. UFC middleweight contenders Paulo Costa and Israel Adesanya were both successful at UFC 226 as well. Promoting style. Jeez, what the hell did I write? Style Bender to call out Costa following the fight. However, fucking autocorrect. Costa, however, had other plans. He told MMA Junkie that while he would fight Adesanya, he prefers a fight with former champ Chris Weidman to determine the next title challenger for Whittaker or Gastelum. Who should Costa and Adesanya fight next? Should they meet each other?
I have no opinion. I don't think they should fight because not right now. I think they will fight down the line, but right now they're 2 bright stars burning bright, and I think they should be allowed to go up. Costa, clever call out, Chris Weidman. You only have to look at some of Weidman's fights and see the size of guys he's fought similar.
Yeah,
that and what they've done. Former champion, very smart call out. Adesanya,
not smart for Weidman.
No. Weidman's wrestling.
No, yeah.
But I think I can see them building them a bit the way other promotions are, the way Bellator, for example, AJ McKee and James Gallagher has always bounced around. It's now they're 2 up and coming guys. Let's separate them and build. Yeah, they should fight. I think James going down on weight, that's not good. Well, it's probably good for James, but I want to see that fight. Yeah. But Costa and Adesanya, smart decision by Costa. I don't think he should get the winner of Whittaker Gastelum unless he gets that bigger win.
Yeah.
Adesanya, it's a weird one, isn't it? Who would you want to see them fight?
I think me and Brendan talked about this last time on the live chat, and we did come to an agreement on somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but we also did agree with you that I don't think these two should fight just now. You basically kill off a really good potential contender, and both guys do have some work to do, and it would make sense, as in where their skills are right now, stylistically.
It'd be a great fight, but I just think
let them it's not like they have to fight. I think what I said to Brendan was, it's not like if they don't make this fight that it's Pacquiao versus Mayweather, where people are like, oh my god, when they had the chance they didn't make it. It's not like that. It's not a fight they're gonna make.
They're both relatively young,
yeah, they're both really young. I think Adesanya is 20 something, 26 or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, they have plenty of ways to go, and there's plenty of different fighters to go there. I'm actually not sure about Weidman versus Costa. I don't like that fight for Weidman, not because he can't win, but I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think he should fight someone a bit higher up in the rankings.
Bell ever. Chris Cyborg Justino's proposed fight with Amanda Nunes in December might be her last with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. I smell somebody looking for a increase in pay. In an interview with Globo's Combat, she spoke about being unhappy that she needs to wait until December to fight Nunes. This means she'll be inactive for 9 months since her last fight. Quote, I think this fight will be my last fight in the UFC because my contract goes until March and I'm doing this fight in December. I think it'll be the last one the guys will see me fight. No. I'm going to jump in because no, it's not. It's if, the fight in December, right, fight someone in the interim. Fight someone in between now and
but
then.
she's not being given an option. She has to fight Nunes.
That's
the fight
nobody
he
wants
wants.
to fucking fight her.
That's the thing. There's nobody really in the division.
And if she does fight Nunes and wins the belt, do you think she's going to go, no, nobody fight me, I move? Not happening.
But if you think about it...
I love Cyborg, so that wasn't me mocking her. But like.
The thing about Chris Cyborg is she really making that much more money inside the UFC than she would be outside? I don't really think so, because imagine if she went to Ryzen or something.
Yeah, I just You
know, she could fight loads of people in Ryzen for a shit ton of money.
Loads of like 50-year-old elements.
She could. It's kind of sad, but she could. So I don't know if she's really making that whole.
Do you know what? It sounds like I'm I love watching Cyborg.
Yeah,
fight. I really do.
I just wish I had contenders.
It's just she's almost. You could argue Amanda Nunes as well. They're both ahead of the curve that little bit.
Yeah.
As in the rest of the women in the division, that like as in there's a gulf of Mexico between them, like, you know what I mean? It's
I'm definitely using that now. From now on, when there's a gulf of class between them.
Mexico,
gulf of Mexico.
But no, there is a huge gulf between the talent. Like some fighters, you know, what's her name was calling out Amanda Nunes as well after her win, wasn't she? After the weekend,
Kat Zingano.
Yeah. But like. Again, Amanda Nunes has evolved that little bit more, so it's like I honestly think Cyborg absolutely trounces Amanda Nunes as well if they fight.
I think she probably does. Although
just through
Nunes,
grit and size and just power, I think as well as Nunes packs a punch, but I don't know. Cyborg.
It is one of them fights that does that. You know, it is making sense, even though you know we don't really like fighters going up in weight when they still have the contenders there. But you know.
But that's the thing. I don't think
there's not.
Like I honestly think they could go right. Amanda Nunes, Cyborg fight, and if it's a good fight, they go, let's have a rematch. And if that's a good fight, let's have a rematch.
Let's just do it again,
and let all the other people catch up with them. But you know, 7th or 8th time round.
Yeah. Stipe Miocic has called for an immediate rematch with Daniel Cormier following his loss to the now double champion at UFC 226. A lot of 226 is being brought up here. He said he feels he deserves a rematch for clearing out the entire division, and called Cormier's confrontation with the expected title challenger Brock Lesnar a shit show and disrespectful. Quote, I thought they were going to interview me after the fight and I was going to ask for a rematch. When Brock came in, I said, I'm out of here. I don't need this circus. How can you give a guy a title shot who hasn't fought in over 2 years, is suspended, and his last fight is a no contest because he was taking PEDs? Do you agree with Stipe?
100% I agree with every word Stipe Miocic said. I thought it was absolutely disgraceful that Stipe was stood in the cage and they let Brock roll in and do what he done. Like I would like you said last week, that wasn't for us, our MMA fans. That was for the WWE fans or just casual fans to get them brought in, and I don't think that was for anyone else. But when he comes in and starts going, Stipe Miocic is a piece of shit. Stipe Miocic cleared out that heavyweight division, Brock, and I honestly think if you fought Stipe Miocic, you'd fucking curl up like a ball the way you did against Cain Velasquez. He'd beat the living fucking shit out of you.
Jesus.
Language. Beat you to living death. But Stipe, I did feel he was very disrespected. I think Stipe, as a champion in the UFC, has been ultimately disrespected for his whole reign.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Even though he is the most dominant UFC heavyweight champion of all time, I think he's been hugely disrespected as a champion. I'd love to see him come back, get the victory. I was very happy for DC when he won it, because DC's just a nice guy. Apparently he likes an eye poke. But DC's a nice guy, and he likes, as we said earlier, likes seeing nice guys doing well. But I think Stipe Miocic is... I think if DC and Stipe fight again, Stipe beats him. He'll darn different tactics. But
maybe.
Yes, for what the actual question is, it was a circus, correct. He was disrespected, correct. It was a shit show, correct. And Brock should be nowhere near a fucking shot. He hasn't fought in 2 years. Yeah. He is currently suspended.
But you do understand why he's getting the title fight.
I do understand.
That's the kind of the bad thing. Like,
I just want to know what Mark Hunt thinks.
Yeah, for hardcore fans, it's like it's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous that he's getting a title fight. Now think what the former champion, who is like the most hardcore of hardcore fans, he didn't really get involved with any of the trash talk and anything like that. No, he's just
he
a really old school.
Hangs up on her.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's what he does. But yeah, he was always disrespected. I thought, and he did deserve better. But Joe Rogan wouldn't have done an interview with him anyway because
he was knocked out. Has that become an actual thing now?
He said it was going to be a thing. Yeah.
So they no longer will go to fighters and say...
If you're knocked out, yeah. Unless different circumstances. I think they might have done it once or twice, but Joe Rogan said that he refuses to do it. After the Overeem thing, remember?
Oh, it was Rogan himself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's your quick fire news. 2 minutes on the clock. We discussed. We have the amazing sounding bell.
Yeah, beautiful.
Let us know. Do you like the bell?
Yeah.
Comment below. Do you like the bell, or would you like the ding ding? The odd time when you have the bell, it does something else. It doesn't go ding ding. It just goes.
No, that's the last bit.
Sounds like someone smokes too much with
That's the basketball buzzer or
what's
something.
that called?
Voice box. Voice box. Moving on.
Yeah, we're going a bit weird. UFC Fight Night 133 took place at the weekend. Your main event was Junior Dos Santos taking on Ivanov. It went the way of the returning Junior Dos Santos, who was coming back off suspension because he was found guilty of taking no PEDs. Yeah. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he was basically flagged for some kind of PED and then, came back.
Something of a rarity. I know these are all going. No, it's not a rarity. Fucking that went 5 rounds. Heavyweight fight went 5 rounds.
Yeah, it's kind. I wouldn't say it's expected, but with this guy coming into it, he was clearly a guy who was hard to finish. And Junior, I think, coming back after that layoff, I think he was a little I wouldn't say tentative, but he was at least trying to conserve his energy. He was fighting smart. But I thought it was a good performance overall. Junior just boxed him up a little bit. Ivanov just wasn't technically proficient enough to really get anything going. Did hurt Junior a couple of times and got up against the cage. Sometimes Junior gets caught up against the cage and get hurt, like with Velasquez. That was more so with wrestling. But Ivanov will be back. I don't think he's going to be a contender in division, but he'll be up there. And good performance from JDS. He did call for a rematch with Stipe Miocic for the number 1 contender fight. I think it makes sense if they do it if the Brock Lesnar versus Cormier thing goes ahead.
With Ivanov, do you think, I know DC just won the heavyweight title and all that, but is 5'11" too small for a heavyweight?
Too small, I guess not, because Stipe is the champion, or Cormier is the champion, I guess not. But he is quite undersized. But he hasn't really fought anybody, and he hasn't been beat based on size really. He's been beat based on technique for the most part. So I'm gonna say no, but he's definitely. I don't think he's the ideal size for heavyweight. I wouldn't say that now.
And Super Sage Norco,
man,
he's on a 3-fight win streak.
Yeah,
and fighting now the team Alpha Male now, of course, fighting at welterweight. So that was that his first fight at welterweight?
He fought at welterweight before, but in the UFC he's been fighting mostly at 155. I don't know if he fought at welterweight before.
Not in the UFC.
Brian Barberina?
That was
not welterweight.
Don't think so.
I'll check it. Go on, continue.
You check that while we're there. But yeah, Sage was absolutely. You're right. Brian Barberina was 170. That was a short notice fight that he took.
Yeah, and lost that one.
Yeah. But yeah, Sage looked in trouble. Otto absolutely rocked him in the first round.
Punch.
The eyes roll back, as they said in commentary, as you said before we came on here as well. And then thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to abandon striking and I'm just going to wrestle with him.
Yeah, it was a weird decision.
Especially when he had him hurt.
Yeah, it was a weird decision.
Sage done very well to recover.
But he hurt him really, really badly. Like, Sage's eye is completely rolling into the back of his head. But it was a great recovery by Sage. And I think that he almost gets a kind of a bad rap for not being tough, Sage Northcutt. But I think he's a really tough guy. Like, that one with the choke against Barberina and he had strep throat, I think that was a legit thing. But looking at this fight, I thought he looked really, really tough. And like, that's probably the worst, absolutely the worst start you can have.
Yeah.
He was pretty much out on his feet. Well, he dropped to his back, but he was pretty much out and got dropped. So I was actually really impressed with what we've seen. And we always forget, like, this guy has come up through the UFC and we've seen him develop in the UFC. So I always kind of talk about these guys, these young guys who...
22 years of age, bro.
Yeah, he's only 22. He's only 19. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I always talk about these guys who, they kind of start their career in the UFC and we kind of see their bad stuff as well as their good stuff. Whereas, an old school type fighter who start outside the UFC, they get their licks out there, they get their wins, they get their losses, and then come into the UFC and we really see their career kind of flourish. Sage Northcutt didn't really get that. He's kind of had to learn on the job. So I think that the improvements he's made has been pretty impressive. I like his move to Team Alpha Male. He still has his dad in his corner, but I like that move.
Mr. Northcutt.
Yeah, Mr. Northcutt.
You were saying earlier we're down getting on our way to work today, getting a coffee as we do in the beautiful Nero. Beautiful coffee. And you were like, we got to get Sage Northcutt in the show. And I said, for any other reason, just so he'll address us as Mr. O'Keefe and Mr. Fallon.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Be fantastic.
There was I did say on Twitter as well, there was a lovely little technique that he done where his wrist was stuck in wrist control. He used his foot to break it, and then he landed the hammer fist. 2 hammer fist KOs on this card.
Love a hammer fist.
Yeah.
One that divided opinion, Robert. Did you agree or did you disagree with Rick Glenn getting the nod over Dennis Bermudez?
Agreed. I don't know. It was one of them. Do you know one of them ones? Just one of them.
If they'd said Bermudez, you would have went,
yeah, it's grand. It was a decent fight.
Isn't it weird that we say that, it's grand?
Yeah, but
Dennis Bermudez
it's,
probably feels a little different.
And he was really pissed off. And Dennis Bermudez had a few of those where it was a close fight and he kind of came to the end of the worst end of the decision. But yeah, it was one of them.
Then the other hammer fist you were talking about, Nico Price. And what I loved about, if you haven't seen the fight, go watch it. But Randy Brown looked like he got Price down and was trying to advance his position. And it looked like Price was originally going for like a knee or a leg. He was trying to lock up something. But he used his left foot. He got it under the chin of Brown and sort of, pretend this is my foot, just raised them up a little.
Yeah.
And then had his left hand free and just hammer fisted him. And I think they called it, I think Jimmy Smith called it, that he was out after like the third hammer fist or something. But man,
I think it was the first one.
That's short range power.
I think it was the first one. It didn't help for Randy Brown that he didn't see it coming. I don't think he was expecting the hammer fist to come because obviously Nico Price was looking for some kind of leg lock, and he did say that he was working on a lot of leg locks in the camp and even just before the fight. But if you actually watch the replay, just as Nico Price throws the hammer fist, Randy Brown just turns and it lands. So I think it just kind of just right at his peripheral vision and didn't see it coming. But you don't see that at all.
Short round power, like,
it's crazy.
You talk about it a lot when you see someone finish somebody from ground and pound inside the guard. You're like, holy shit, the power. Yeah. But to finish somebody, I'm going to say it, Rob, from pound on the ground, terrible. But yeah, that power to get that from your back, that's some serious power. Another return of the PEDs was Chad Money Mendez, returning after 2 years of suspension. But hey, he owned it. I think that's so weird that they say that in commentary, coming back in 2 years suspension, he owned it. No, he didn't. He got fucking caught. It's not like he came and goes, look, listen lads, I've been taking drugs, shitload of drugs.
I'm out.
Give me 2 years, I'll own it. You know what I mean? He got caught. But anyway, you thought your tweets, judging by your tweets, you thought he started off quite tentative, which you would expect, I think. From
you'd kind of expect it from a guy who's been off so long. And especially a guy who's been off so long.
Cycling.
And from the last fight he got finished pretty early by Frankie Edgar. Which is weird. The reason why it feels even much longer for me is because I was at that fight. And I was like, holy shit. That's the fight I was at. I wasn't. That was ages ago. That's how long he's been off. It's been crazy. But a first round win in typical Chad Mendez fashion. Fake the right and then come over the top of the left. I think it was
the left hook.
But Miles Shorey though, he hasn't got to the level where a lot of people thought he would get to, has he?
I thought what Mendez done well was he stayed all the way out.
Yeah,
because Jordy's a lot bigger. In fairness, I think Chad Mendez could be fighting Weeman and he'd be the smaller guy in there.
He's a really small dude,
with his little T-Rex arms.
But
he leaps in lovely with that left hook. And caught him beautiful and ground and pound.
You can't ask for too much more on a return after that long, and hopefully he's off whatever he was on, and we get to see Chad Mendez back. Because to be honest, a lot of people have been talking about PEDs lately, and let's be honest, there's a lot of people that haven't been caught that's on it. So when someone gets caught, we shouldn't say they're the worst people in the world. They shouldn't have done it, but it's fucking, it is what it is.
No, fuck them, they shouldn't have done it.
No, they shouldn't have done it.
No, so fuck them, they shouldn't have done it.
No, they shouldn't, but so should continue. Let's not get
Kat Zingano got back in winning ways.
It's emotional.
It's a good news story in MMA.
It is.
I always say, MMA is not a fairy tale. Do you know what I mean? There's no happy ending. Well, in MMA, it doesn't always turn out that way, but it was great to see Kat Zingano get back on the winning train. It hasn't won since, Jesus, crazy, since September 2014, which was against Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, it was a good performance. It was typical kind of Kat Zingano performance where, she's the alpha female? Yeah. That's her nickname. And pretty much that's what she done. She out-positioned, out-wrestled. On the feet, again, she looked okay, but, she was getting pieced up at times, but then, she got the wrestling going. Just too aggressive, too physically imposing.
That's what I was alluding to earlier in the news when we said that Kat Zingano called out Amanda Nunes.
It's a different fight now.
It's a different fight.
Yes,
very different fight. That was your main card. Let's look through the one that stood out for me. Obviously, it stood out for anyone who watched it. Was Alexander Volkanovski fighting Darren Elkins, and right at the end of the first round, when Elkins was on the mat and could barely get up, I was like, "Oh, Volkanovski, you're in trouble. He's got you exactly where he wants you." Holy shit! Like, what do you have to do to get Elkins out of there? And how insane is it as a fighter to be stood there hitting him with everything except your coach?
Yeah.
Thinking, why are you still standing in front of me?
Yeah. I'm not a fighter, so I don't know, but Darren Elkins is one tough motherfucker, and Alexander Volkanovski is a really good fighter, and I think he's a very good prospect. And also, I don't know if you've seen it, he got injured on Wednesday. There's actually video online of him getting really badly injured on Wednesday before the fight. Check it out. I think it's on MMA Junkie.
What do you mean? How did he get injured? What?
He hurt, I don't know, it was an injury in his some kind of rib injury or something like that.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
Judges' scorecards.
Yeah.
The new rules were in play here in this.
Yeah, what was the scorecards?
30-27, 29-28, 29-28.
Nope.
How in the living hell?
I agree with 0 of those.
How is there not a 10-8?
I don't know.
At least round one.
Which one did Elkins win?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Weird. There's definitely a 10-8 in there anyway.
Round one was 100% a 10-8.
Yeah.
And you see the referee was a
maybe the judges thought exactly what you were saying. This is his game plan. This is his game plan.
God damn it, Alexander! What are you doing, hitting him? This is what he wants. But Herzog literally gave out to the cut man. The cut man got in to obviously attend the cut. The cut man was only going in to do his job, but he actually assisted Elkins to his feet, and the referee was like, "Nope, he has to get up himself." Now I think your corner man can pick you up. I've seen that before. But yeah, Darren Elkins, all joking aside, right? And I don't want to bring it down this avenue because we could be here for a while if we do. He should be really looking at a heavy suspension.
Yes.
From this.
Yeah. Like, he's taken a lot of damage.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's come back and won fights. Was it, what was it, Betch when he came back?
Becic, yeah.
Becic,
yeah.
Like, that was just disgusting, like, how he came back and won that. Like, amazing for him. But, like, you look at the damage that guy has taken.
All of his fights. Michael Johnson fight, he was getting hurt in that fight. Dennis Bermudez, he was getting hurt in that fight. Becic, getting hurt in that fight. Does it in all his fights. Yeah, it's crazy. The only other kind of pick that I have from that would be the Nurmagomedov-Scoggins fight. Really good fight if you can check it out. Another close one. Scoggins probably should have got the nod. I disagree with that decision. Nurmagomedov looked good in the first, and then I think Scoggins looked good in the first as well. But I thought it was actually Scoggins looked better in the first, sorry, and it was Nurmagomedov late. But Scoggins, again, another one of them guys who has a lot of potential that he's kind of been, just kind of not thrown away fights, but he's been looking really good and then just drifting away. But I do like him. Hopefully he doesn't get cut because he has a couple of losses.
Let's move on and look at the fights coming up this weekend, Rob. Let's keep it flowing. We're only going to go briefly through this because it's not a great card. That's unfair, Rob. They may not be household names.
Oh, Jesus.
As you know. UFC 134 goes down this weekend in the Barclaycard Arena, Hamburg, Germany. Which means, folks, you're not going to be up till silly o'clock watching this, but you're going to have to listen to people on Twitter in America going, "Oh my God, what time is this on it?" Aren't you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, who cares? It's headlined by Mauricio Shogun, who are taking on Anthony Smith. Let's start it there. What's your thoughts on this one, Roberto?
It's actually kind of an interesting fight, I think. Shogun, we've talked about him before. It's crazy that he's still ranked at light heavyweight at this stage of his career. And now Anthony Smith coming in, short notice enough. That wasn't his original opponent. His original opponent was Gus, wasn't it? Gustafsson. So it's a more favourable matchup for Shogun. They're two similar enough guys, fighting style. Like Shogun and Smith, they both like to strike. They're both Muay Thai strikers. Rua would probably be more of a traditional striker. Although he can get really wild, but I think Smith would probably get more wild more often than Shogun. Shogun usually has a pretty good high guard, but can get hurt to the body. We've seen it a couple of times. But I like the fight overall. I actually do. I think it's a better matched fight than the original one, even though the original one had a better, two names in it.
what do you think of Anthony Smith? He seems to be rolling through the names, as in he fought and beat Hector Lombard.
Yeah.
He fought and beat Rashad Evans recently. Is it, obviously, like you're saying, you're surprised that Shogun is ranked?
Yeah, he's ranked high, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 8th. At one stage he was 3.
He was like 3 or 4, yeah.
But I think he's only ranked because he hasn't fought since, like Shogun hasn't fought since March 2017.
Yeah. Long time.
It's a long, and it was a win over Jean Valente. So,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like he is riding a 3-fight win streak, but like that's a long time away for Shogun. And Shogun, let me check his age, is 36.
Yeah.
He's like me. He's an old lad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a weird one.
So like what I'm getting at is Anthony Smith in a way a younger, faster, sharper version of Mauricio Shogun?
Somewhat. I think especially the way Shogun likes to fight, he'll stand right in the pocket. They're both pretty static. They don't really move. They're not really on their toes. So I think there's a good chance that this will be the type of fight where they both stand in the middle and throw. Smith will move a little bit more. Shogun's very static. Shogun will stand right in front of you, throw combinations, throw leg kicks, try parry punches with that high guard. But it depends on where Shogun is. It really does. Like again, you said he hasn't fought in a year, and even back then, although it was a win, John Volante can be a bit hot and cold. You don't really know what you're getting from John Volante. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting from Anthony Smith either. You know, that win over Rashad Evans, while it is on paper it's a good win, where was Rashad Evans? We don't know. Rashad Evans retired after that fight. So there's a good chance that these are going to stand right in front of each other, and it could be just who lands the better shots. This is Smith coming back up to 205. I know his last fight was at 205, but he spent most of his career at middleweight. It seemed like his power translated at 205, but that was against Rashad Evans. So, but you can't compare Rashad to Shogun as well, age-wise. The Shogun's chin's still there. I'd imagine that Shogun probably has a better chin right now than Rashad Evans does, because it seemed like every time Rashad Evans was clipped, he was getting hurt, whereas Shogun has taken some decent shots.
Here's one.
Yeah.
This is Shogun's first fight since, when did he last fight outside of Brazil? So his last 3 fights and 3 wins have been in Brazil.
Yeah.
He last fought, where was that? UFC Fight Night, that's got to be, where's that? Jeez, Brazil. So his last 4 fights have been Brazil. So this is Germany that Shogun's fighting in. He fought Dan Henderson. That was in bleeding Brazil as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So his last 5 fights, have been.
They put him in Brazil.
Yeah, I know he's the big star, but my point here is how big is this that it's outside of Brazil?
I don't know. Like, depends on what you're asking, but I don't know. I don't think it's a huge factor.
2013, he fought in Australia.
Yeah, I don't think it's a huge factor. For me, I don't think it's a huge factor. They're both traveling. It's not like he's fighting some European. It's in, where is this? In like Germany or something?
Germany.
Yeah, so it's not like he's fighting some European. They're both traveling. If you want to get on the do they test in Brazil type thing, that's another discussion. But I don't think it's a huge factor for me.
I'm a big fan, as anyone who ever listens to this when Shogun comes up. I just like a style. I like his little. He comes for when you watch Shogun fight, you watch a fight. Yeah. He's never lost a fight because he doesn't fight. Just who was it that he just didn't turn up against where he folded? I can't remember who that was against, but he just didn't turn up. He was getting picked apart and he just folded. But like when
John Jones?
No, I don't think it was John Jones. But like, you only have to look at him. He comes into fight and he'll go out in a shield. You only have to look at the Hendo fights to see that. I'm a big fan of Shogun. I'd love to see him get the win here. I just think circumstances, being a long time off, you're talking a year, almost a year and a half, year and 4 months without fighting at 36 years of age. That's a long time. It could also be good recovery because Shogun had taken a lot of damage over his career.
Like these older fighters, maybe that longer time off is much better.
Look, I'm picking Shogun because I'm a Shogun fan. That's it. I would be apprehensive with that pick. I wouldn't say place money on it. But Anthony Smith has serious power as well, and if he hurts Shogun, he'll chase the finish and get it done. Yeah,
it's for me, this is almost like a heavyweight fight. It's one of those. It's like I feel like they're both on a strike. I think Smith, if he can get into the clinch, where Shogun is good, but I just think Smith in the clinch, his elbows and his knees to the body could really cause problems for Shogun. But if they stand right in front of each other, you know, I think Smith will have a speed advantage, but Shogun's always been that guy who can land that shot. He's always been able to land that shot, even against really, really fast guys. So, to be honest, I think it's like a heavyweight fight. I think whoever lands the better shot can win this one. Shogun's obviously fought the better guys, but it's been a long time. I'm going to go with Shogun as well.
It's interesting. The layoff is a good one because it could be a factor that makes him diminish, or it could be that time he's rejuvenated.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like I shouldn't be picking Shogun in 2018, but I just think it's almost a coin flip. I think whoever lands will win, and I just feel that Shogun's going to be able to land something.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Your co-main event for the evening is Glover Teixeira against Corey Anderson.
Yeah.
Glover Teixeira is he's the number 3 ranked guy in the world.
Is he still?
And, he's not getting higher because of that. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say about that? He's reached the pinnacle of where he is. You
calling him a gatekeeper?
That's exactly what I'm calling him.
Should have just said that.
I was trying to be poetic and I was getting there.
Yeah. Glover. Is he actually number 3?
Yeah, Vulcan is number. This is Topology I'm looking at, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah,
I like Glover. He fights basically with hooks and chokes.
Yeah,
pretty much.
He's
hooks and chokes.
Yeah, like he's a big power puncher.
Big power puncher.
Big, like if he lands, I think if Glover lands on any lands properly, he'll
because he throws everything into every punch. He very rarely will you see Glover throwing a straight punch, and Brendan always talks about that straight punches always be looping punches, but Glover's really good with it, and the only thing he uses his lead hand for, his jab hand, is for a lead left hook, or just like the frame. That's it. Just a frame for his right hook. He never throws a jab, you never see it. And he has really good jiu-jitsu, and his wrestling's okay offensively. Defensively, it's actually really good. Like John Jones had trouble taking Glover down at times, but then John Jones played Glover's game almost, and he got him up against the cage and was absolutely beating the shit out of him with punches. Something that Glover likes to do, and something that, like, if you look at Glover, when people actually back him up against the cage, remember Ryan Bader backed him up against the cage, landed big shots, and then Glover landed that counter right hook, I think it was. So I think with Corey Anderson, I think that those kind of leaping lead hooks can be a problem, because if you watch his fights back and watch what he gets hurt with, Jimmy Manoa, leaping left hook, that kind of stuff, I think that could cause problems for Corey Anderson. He's not the best striker in the world. He's best when he can get his takedowns going. Don't think he's going to get his takedowns going.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Corey will want to take it down. Glover's going to just knock him out with it.
I think so.
To Jimmy Manoa.
Yeah.
Do you want to brave through quickly, because I know Brendan is going to be waiting for a phone call for us, but what stands out for you here? Mark Diakese would stand out, badly in need of a win here.
Even going through the card, because I did take a quick look. Vitor Miranda against Azatar making his UFC debut. Miranda, he hasn't looked great. I think he came off that tough Brazil. But this is Azatar's first fight at middleweight, I believe. From what I've seen, he was a bit of a power puncher at welterweight. But is that going to translate to?
Does his power translate?
Is it going to? I don't know. But I don't really like Miranda at middleweight. I don't think he's had really that many good performances. So I'll probably go with Azatar. Mark Diakese, you said was on the card.
Yeah, Mark's fighting.
Yeah, Mark versus Nasrat. This is an interesting one. Mark Diakese, a bit of a crossroads fight for him, isn't it?
Big time. Well, like when you look at who he's like, Daniel Hooker, all of a sudden that loss doesn't look.
Neither of his losses look bad now. Yeah. When you look back now, the Hooker fight was against a guy who's looked really, really good lately. And the what was the other fight? That was Drakkar Close. Yeah. At the time, I thought that was a really bad loss, because he came in as a really good prospect, and then Close just beat him. I was like, what the hell? But he's actually looked pretty good recently as well. So those losses don't look as bad anymore.
And you got to look at Haqparast now, his loss to Marcin Held. Yeah. Unanimous decision. So you got to favour Diakese on the feet here. His improvements under American top team, I'd imagine, are going to be no end as well with his wrestling. What I'd like to see Mark Diakese do, because there's no questioning what the techniques he can throw.
That's the thing.
And the attacks.
It's the fundamentals, isn't it?
He needs to set it up with fundamentals. And he's got that power. Like, if you look at, like, when Mark won in Dublin, remember that knockout? That was just an insane knockout power. He's got that when you look at the knockout over Kane Musa.
It almost feels like, because he's done so well with, like, flashy strikes, that he's leaned on that way too much. And I don't know if he doesn't have the fundamentals that we think that he should be using. I'm not sure if they're not there, or again, it's just that he's leaning too much on the spinning techniques, the spinning back fists. That he's had a lot of success with them. So you can see why he kind of leaned on them a little bit. Yeah. But I just feel like when he comes up against a guy who has good fundamentals, who Nasrat does, he's a good kind of Muay Thai striker. Nothing amazing, but he's a good striker. Could cause him problems. The only thing with Nasrat for me is, like, if you look at his record, man, it looks like a boxing record. Like, if you look at his first 7 pro fights, so his first 7 opponents had a combined win record of 0.
Wow.
They had 0 wins.
Wow.
It was his 8th fight before he came up with anybody with a win.
That's absolutely
And what is he? What's his record now? Like 10 and
2.
8-2.
Wow, that is absolutely insane.
It's insane. So I think quality of opposition is a problem, but we know Mark Diakese has fought some really good guys. We've seen it. So I think on experience, I'll go with Mark Diakese, but it wouldn't surprise me if he kind of got sucked into that throne, spinning flashy techniques. And
you'd like to think like is like, it's great seeing that, but I think his W was important in this fight for his career.
I agree.
And I think he needs to, it's great to do, if you get comfortable in your city opening, yes, I'd hate to say don't do stuff, but I thought he was going to the well too much with it. Big fan of Mark Diakese, really nice guy as well, but
the big heavyweight fight on the card is Tybura versus Struve. My pick on that straight off the bat would be Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura, his size and frame should have huge problems against Stefan Struve. But Stefan Struve doesn't fight well against guys like this. Fast guys who can get on the inside.
Isn't it weird, Stefan Struve being 8'2" tall, and he doesn't use his reach?
We always talk about it. He never uses it.
7 foot tall, Stefan Struve.
Yeah, 7 foot. It's insane. He never uses his reach. And Tybura is the type of guy who can blast his way into the pocket and land shots. And I feel he's going to probably knock him out. Yeah. I really do feel he's going to knock him out.
Do you think he'll get that? Because Jesus, when Struve folds, he proper folds.
It's weird, like Struve.
I always compare him to that blowy man outside a car dealership in America. Like when he gets hit, he always goes, ooh, he really goes way.
Like, it's weird. Like Struve is a guy who's huge and likes to fight in close.
Yeah.
And he's a huge guy.
Great thigh clinch, by the way.
Yeah, but he's a huge guy and, you know, really heavy, really fucking huge limbs, and likes to play guard off his back. What the fuck?
This is Street Fighter analogy. This is Dal Sim fighting Blanca, and this is like you being Dal Sim going, do you know what? Let's fight in the clinch, Blanca.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Now stand on the other side of the screen.
Yeah, and beep, beep, Dal Sim him.
Boop.
The other fight on the main card. So you're picking
Tybura as well.
The other fight in the main card is Danny Roberts and Zawada. Don't know a whole lot about Zawada. I know he was in KSW. I tried to check out some of his footage. Couldn't really find a whole lot. But his record is good, and he's fought some good guys in KSW and good wins. And we've watched a lot of KSW, and there's no real easy fights in that promotion. They're usually fairly well matched. And this is a late notice fight. I think it's only a week. I think they announced it in the last card, so it's only a week notice for Danny Roberts, who had Alan Jouban. So this is a really dangerous fight for Roberts. If he loses this one against a pretty much no-name guy in the UFC, when he could have got a win over Alan Jouban, who has a fairly good name. I think it's a dangerous one. Can't make a pick because I don't know a whole lot about Zawada, but it's a dangerous one.
I'd be the same yourself. I don't know a lot about Zawada. KSW.
The lower level ones are well matched. Obviously, you have the freak show ones, but I think the lower level contendership fight type things, well matched.
I love that, wasn't it? KSW. I was just looking to see who he fought at KSW.
All right,
because I'm a fan.
Yeah, decent records on his record. No 0-1s like Nazareth.
So that's the fights this weekend. I appreciate, you're probably going, where's Brendan? Brendan didn't come on to do this one. That's because we're going to be talking to Brendan a little bit. But before we do, let's get on the phone to a man who was a fighter. Gave that up.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
For fuck's sake.
No. Was a fighter. I'm joking. He beat me up.
Tough guy.
Then got into refereeing and has now gone as far. He's worked on the likes of, you're regular. If you ever watch Bama or anything like that, you'll see him. If you ever go to any, be it a boxing show, an MMA show, a fight outside of a pub, you'll probably see Daniel Movahedi referee. He's the busiest man in UK, honest to God.
And genuinely, don't want to say it to his face, one of the nicest guys ever.
him and Sam Amidi, it's all they ever do is travel around the UK when they're working away. Yeah. But Dan reached the goal that I'm sure is the goal for every referee. He made it to the UFC at UFC Liverpool. Didn't even tell us about it. I literally had to turn on and that's Dan reffing it.
He's so cloak and dagger about everything.
Brilliant. But let's get him on and do something we haven't had. It only took 115 episodes to actually interview Daniel Movahedi about Daniel Movahedi. So let's get to it. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I'm delighted to say he's coming home. He's coming home. He's coming. Movahedi's coming home. The only thing that's coming home is Daniel Movahedi. Dan, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Man, it's been ages since I've spoken to you guys. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, man. Yeah. It has been a long time, man. Yeah. Forget enough of football songs, man. I'm done with that.
Done with that. I just said before we came on air here, I said he had 2 teams in the World Cup and he still didn't manage to win it. Useless. Yeah. Look. Like England nearly
got
done
far
it.
enough.
Yeah. England should they should be mass producers of liquids because they're good at bottling it.
Very good.
Look.
I said enough of football talk, man.
Look, we can't say that, and we didn't even qualify for the thing. So look. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the World Cup. But let's move on to MMA because people didn't come here to listen to football talk. So Dan, we have had you on this show. I think since obviously Fight Talk episode 4 or 5,
really early,
or something like.
Very early, yeah.
But we've always just brought you on, sometimes to jeer you, sometimes to. Make you do picks, which was almost like jeering you.
Helen.
but then we obviously thought, you know what's a good idea? We've got a great referee here. Why don't we use his knowledge and have referee's corner? But we've never actually interviewed Daniel Movahedi.
Don't know anything about you.
Yeah, so we thought, why not do this? So let's get into that and exactly that, Dan. So like, if you're a fan of UK and MMA and now like worldwide MMA. And you're watching fights, you will notice Dan being a prominent feature on cards, especially like say Bama, Bellator, now UFC. You'll always see Dan's face because he's the guy in the middle with the fighters. He's also locked in that cage. But Dan, it didn't start there. I want to go right back to Little Movahedi. What got you into MMA?
Little Movahedi.
What got me into MMA? It was, you know what, honestly, obviously, refereeing side of it, if that's what we're talking about. Obviously, I'd had a couple of professional fights, etc. And then started training at Team Titan. And a guy called Ashley Grimshaw, I'm sure you guys know, he's fought in Bama, he's fought in Cage Warriors. He's still active in the scene, so to speak, and a great coach at Team Titan. He and another guy, Philip, had a Thai boxing show on, but who had 2 MMA fights at the back in the day, what we would class as amateur with no headshots, so to speak. And he was like, hey, you know, you've been in the game for a while. Do you fancy officiating it? And you know what we want to look for, etc. You won't start the fight too early or too late. I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll give it a go. And where I'd been, you know, friends with likes of Grant Waterman, Leon Roberts, and they'd been around me, and I've always looked at their work and how they've officiated my fights, etc. Always been around the guys from like the cage rage days, so to speak. And yeah, by chance ended up officiating.
What year was that then?
2008, got 9. Yeah. Wow. So this year will be going into my 10th year, so officiating. So that was that. I think the first fight, I don't know if he's still active or not, Chad Griffin, I think he fought on the Bellator undercard. He was his first fight who I officiated, which was quite good. But yes, then from there, just got a bug for it. Enjoyed looking after fighters. Then ended up starting another friend of mine, Danny Beaver, who ended up doing a show called KO MMA or KO London, and then officiated for him, and then done a couple of interclubs, and then just went on from there. Then Cage Rage Contenders, then also known as UFC MMA. And so I went from there. So by chance I went into it, but fell in love with it straight away.
And what happens then with, like, obviously, this is something we've always talked about, even at the highest level, when you look at the likes of, give me a referee off the top of my head, Steve Mazzagatti. When you look at referees, obviously I don't want you to say anyone in particular, but you can tell when a referee has fought. Like a lot of people will consider the best referees the likes of Mark Goddard, Herb Dean, and these are former fighters. These have competed themselves, so they're fully aware to look at. But as the transition from a fighter, obviously, to a referee, what with like training wise or watching, like I know you'll be very close with Leon and Mark, but what training wise is there to do? Is it just watching footage, or is it more so work your way up like the leagues, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously here it was different, it's different to the States because there they have their commission has courses, etc. That they go on. But here, how it was with me, honestly, and I listened from day one. Just start from the grassroots, get your way in. I would even officiate sparring matches at the gym, whether it be a Team Titan, or even sometimes used to go down Semtex. Used to referee sparring matches. It was good for the fighters, so they knew what they would expect with a referee in there, whether it be standing them up or stopping a fight, etc., or warning them. So, yeah, as far as training back in those days, I say those days, only 10 years ago, but no, there wasn't like official training of like, okay, well, here's a scenario, we want you to pick out a mistake here, or the things that you want to call as a referee. Whereas now I know, like on the IMAF courses that Mark Goddard runs, and in the States you have a written a day that's like all literature kind of stuff. Then you have an activity day where you have 5 scenarios. He might get 2 guys to be sparring and one of them to be shouting out, or one of them to cause a deliberate foul, and to see if the referee will pick it up. So yeah. But being a fighter yourself does have its benefits, because you do know what submission. Even just not necessarily MMA fighting, but if you've done like grappling, or even just boxing, or a certain, so you understand what a fighter's going through. I think that's the important thing, and you know what to look out for. Especially today, I believe if anyone said to me, "Hey, what martial arts should I take up for MMA?" 100% I'd say definitely the wrestling and the grappling side of stuff. So you know the submissions, you know what submissions are coming on, you know what positions you need to be in, what you're looking out for, whether it be the eyes, the arms, how they're going to be tapping, can they tap, can't they tap. It's a whole different scenario, and I do believe it 100% benefit referees to do so. So yeah, I hope I haven't gone off on a tangent, but yeah.
In your early days, Dan, was there anybody referee-wise who almost took you under your wing, or somebody who you really learned from?
Oh, you know what? I've been lucky, like I said, the likes of especially Leon Roberts. He's refereed many of my fights back in the days. Even likes of Grant Waterman, being around Goddard. Even when he was fighting on Cage Rage, I was like, so to speak, commissioning or being a runner, being the guy who bring him from the changing room to the cage. So I was always wrapped around those type of people, you know. And then obviously I became close friends with Rich Mitchell, and so they've always been there, even to this day. Like likes of Goddard, Leon, and Rich, they've always been there, giving me guidance, and we're good friends, so we have good banter, etc. And obviously not forgetting, like I guess in a way, bringing him in a conversation like Sam Amidi. He's been refereeing for coming up 6 years now.
Smiling Sam Amidi.
Same thing, you know. He got into it, seeing what I was doing. He's fought a couple of times. I brought him on a show which I used to promote, Fury MMA. Got him shadowing some of the judges. And from there, you know, he got the bug, and ever since he's just, you know, there's no cutting corners in refereeing. You know, you have to put the miles in, you have to put the time in. Just same as, I guess, the way you guys do your podcast show, same as you do your MCing. So it's commentary, sorry.
Available.
Yeah.
Good rates.
You know, so it is, yeah. So if you'd say, I haven't just had one person take me under the wing. I've had a good handful of people to this day who still offer me their support, which I love. So
the way it snowballs, because what you're saying, Dan, is almost a similar story to me with MCing. I just sort of got into it hook by crook. You know, it needed to be done, and hey, you're allowed now to do it. But with you then, it snowballed obviously with your first ones. You were just jumping in there, but then professionalism came into it, the polishing of the game, the likes of working on big promotions such as Bama. How did that opportunity come about? Again, is that just through your body of work?
That is just, I believe, just through my work, for persistence of working, and you reach out to these promoters and you go, hey, look, I'm available if you need me. Some of them come back and gone, hey, we don't need you right now, but we bear you in mind. Please keep in touch. Or some of them have turned around and said, look, I always send them the work history. I go, hey, put a couple of more shows in on the local scenes. Do like sort of, I don't know, title fights, 5-rounders, etc. Get more pro fights underneath you, so we can have you on our show that does pro fighters rather than just amateur fighters. And then I've done that, travelled up and down the country. Again, the key thing is listening to the likes of Leon, Goddard. They're the two guys who've always said to me, look, the time will come, and if don't worry, just do what you're doing. And we need people, not just like me. I've got other referees who work as well, who are coming up in the scene. You need people on the grassroots level. So, a great example, great conversation I was having with Mark. He's obviously doing the UFC stuff. He travels a lot, so he doesn't get the chance to work the grassroots level stuff. So, in his eyes, it's good to have people like myself or the other referees who can do the work properly at a grassroots level, and to keep the sport alive at that level as well. You just, and then as you put the work in, I guess other bigger shows will come and take you under their wing as well. So, and it's not about the bigger shows either. Of course, it's nice to get your face there, but just the fact, honestly, some of the fights I've refereed on the grassroots level sometimes end up better than the fights that I get to referee on the bigger shows. The bigger shows, sometimes it's just nice to be able to get, better pay, good food, hotel, so so that's the enjoyable side of it.
It's someone like I can see, like here from Ireland, I can see the likes of I do think him, Dec Larkin, a young referee, former fighter coming up, and you can see Dec has worked from the likes of the shows over here, likes of Ryoushin. I think he's done the likes of Battlezone. He's always on Clan Wars, Akuma, these type of shows. But now you can see Dec, he's doing like what you were saying, the commission work, the walk into the cage work on ACB. But he's now starting to referee at Bama. He's got a couple of bets, so you can see Dec progressing his career, his body of work grown and grown. But my question there, after that long statement, is what advice would you give anybody who's looking to get into refereeing, apart from don't do it because you just travel so much? Apart from that, what would the best advice you could give to an up-and-coming referee?
Best advice that I could give, first of all, is I've had so many people go to me, hey man, I want to be a referee, I love the job and I want to travel, and they think, hey, it can be a full-time job, but trust me, you've got to put the hours in. It's not a full-time job for me. It's certainly not a full-time job for some of the other referees. I'm not going to name them, but they still put a hard work in. They travel a lot. You have to do it because you love it and you want to do it. People see this glamour of, hey, look, I don't know, he's in the UFC or he's on Bama, he's on Bellator. I want to be there. I want to get that Instagram follower. I want to get that Twitter follower. I want to get them hits. That's what they see. Same ways, I guess, a lot of people want to become fighters, but then they don't realise how much training they've got to do, how much sparring, how much sacrifices they've got to make, So my advice would be, seriously think about what are the reasons you're getting into it for, and just be prepared to start from that grassroots, to find someone who you can trust as a referee who will allow you to shadow them. Don't think, my early days, dude, I was traveling the country for free. Honestly, I was lucky enough to get my petrol money. I was lucky that I had a nice wife who would allow me to travel with me, and I was lucky enough to sometimes take her, So instead of getting paid, I'll be like to the promoter, hey, you're booking me a hotel room. Can you make sure it's a king-size bed, please? So I could bring my wife along. You've got to be prepared to put the hours in. Like I said, just like yourself. It's nice. Like I said to you, same thing with you. I'm sure you've travelled places. Not that you're undercutting people, but you work your way up. You work your way up to obviously get the bigger paid for what you are worth as an announcer or commentator, and same as a referee. So I urge people. There's plenty of courses that people have gone on, like the IMAF courses, and I know there's now. The good thing about that is there's referees who can go and do the World Championship, the European Championship. But the thing is, outside of that, hopefully they've got their local scene where they can go and shadow people or work people. So they're not just doing World IMAF World Championships and then waiting 3 or 4 months to pass to do the next one. So they haven't done anything in between that, you know. But hopefully there's enough officials to be able to guide them, and just take your time, you know.
Talk to me about. I know we're saying it's great to get to the big show or whatever, but UFC Liverpool. You kept that so tight under your hat that you literally sent. We've a WhatsApp group here where we chat to one another, and I think your WhatsApp just said something like, "Make sure you're watching the UFC this weekend," and that was it. And we're like, "Well, damn, we're gonna watch UFC every weekend." And that's all he gave us. And I remember sitting watching. The first fight was
Elias,
yeah.
Elias Theodoro,
and I'm sitting there watching it, and next minute, and your referee is Mr. Daniel. I'm like, he kept that quiet, and that was my first thing. Was he? What was the reason for that? Was that just you wanted to focus on your duties and, you know?
Yeah, you know what? It was, dude. Like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Yeah, it was a dream come true, and even till today, people go to me, "How is it?" I'm like, dude, hopefully I will get a second shot or being on future shows. But until I do that, I was still in cloud 9. You know, obviously I was there to do a job, but at the same time, when I was taking it all in. You know, I would literally, from the minute I got there, I was lucky enough. You know, must say this first. I was lucky enough. I was nervous, but I wasn't, because I had the likes of Leon, Goddard, you had Neil Hall there, you had the judges there, Dave Lefferby, Ben Cartledge, the people that I'd worked with on other shows like Cage Warriors and Bama. So it was just like being on another show. So the UFC as a brand was just there, but it was nice that I was working with these guys. So I was like, okay, that's the first bit out of the way, which is nice. And then, but yeah, when I got there, I still couldn't believe I was, and you might call me a pussy, but I seen in my hotel room, I actually had a tear in my eye thinking, man, I'm looking outside and I can see that Metro Arena out there. Fucking hell, it's been 10 years in the making of doing this, and what a card to be asked to work for. You know, on the UFC Liverpool, and having people saying to you, oh, you deserve to be here. But then at the same time, now it's over and done with. It's not like, okay, cool, I've done that, let me chill out. I still do grassroots level shows and trying to, still plodding along and still doing it. I'm just privileged to take this journey as it comes, you know. But the reason I kept it quiet, I honestly didn't want to jinx it.
We're all like that.
There's a great picture. I've shared it. I know other the likes of fighters and stuff. It's designed more so for fighters, I think. But it's like a picture of like a little small hall, and it says that, and a big stadium, and it says don't expect to work here if you haven't done your time here. And I think that rings home true both for fighters, for referees, for ring announcers, commentators. I think it's one and the same. It falls under. And I have to say, when I did see it on screen, I felt I was bursting with pride. I was like, he done it, you know, and I think it's warranted. I think one of the biggest moments I think that stood out for me with you, though, Dan, was one of the reactions you got in the title fight between Young and Barres in Bama.
The eye pokes? Oh, well,
he was stretching his hand out.
Yeah.
And if my memory serves me right, you took a point.
Before the foul.
Before the foul. Because he had done it so many times, you'd warned him. And that got huge interaction and people going, finally, we've a referee, you know what I mean, on Reddit. And I think that was the real one that really, it's not that what you noticed, but it was really ran home to me that, Jesus, you know, as much as we talk to you and you're a friend, you know what I mean, we take for granted almost how good you are at your job. But it is, man, you're a top class referee.
But don't forget that. I mean, that's all again. If you're saying what advice can I give referees? Again, that's just putting that time in, getting into different situations. You know, I was lucky enough. You know, not that it's good that I get into different situations, but I've come across some crazy stuff, you know, and for that I'm lucky, i.e. whether it'll be a down the knee to the head to a downed opponent, whether it'll be poking the eye, 12 to 6 elbows, whatever it may be. I would hate to think someone gets on a big show and hasn't come across a certain thing or certain foul or doesn't know what call to make and like, oh shit, what do I do here? You know, because I put that time in the grassroots level, because I've listened to my peers and my people I look up to, you know, I was lucky enough that any situation I was there to deal with, I could deal with. I.e., the Tom Breeze and Dan Kelly fight, where everyone thought it was a finger in the eye that done it. And I could clear the position I was in. I could see as a referee that was a grazing of the glove and not a poke in the eye. So I wasn't panicking. I was confident in my call. And then, you know, obviously we know how that ended with the fight result. And you know, even there, people were going, "Oh, he was poking the eye," and then they retracted. It was like, actually, we saw it in highlights, slow motion. It wasn't poking the eye. It was a graze of the gloves, you know. So it's that moment, they're the times I'm grateful. The time I did put in at the grassroots level, or week in, week out, and listening to the people I listened to be able to keep me easier at the job I did.
I have one more question, but it's a double barrel question. What's the worst or hardest part about being a referee? Is part one?
Yeah, part one. Hardest part or the worst part?
Well, it's the same idea. What's
both. The worst and hardest part is, I don't know, when I tell you what, two things. When the cornermen and the fans don't understand the reason you've made the call. Like I had one the other week, and I'm not going to name no names, on a local show, amateur guy, and we say in the rules talk, listen, if you're calling a submission, especially like an armbar, if your arm's hyperextending and it looks to me as a referee it's about to snap or about to pop, we will stay, whether you tap or don't tap, I'm stopping that fight. Excellent. Yeah, no problem. So this fight happens, the guy gets called, I'm giving him every opportunity. Man, move out of there, show me you can wiggle out, show me anything you can get out of there. And he couldn't, right? So I stepped in and stopped the fight. Oh, ref, and these fans are going, ref, but he didn't tap. I was like, dude, do you understand the reason I stopped it? I want this kid to come back, especially as an amateur, to be able to fight in 2 weeks' time on another show to progress his career. That's the hard bit where people don't understand. And, you know, but then the fighter himself was like, oh, but I'm double jointed. I'm like, I don't care if you're double jointed or not. You know, if that arm pops, then you being double jointed isn't going to save you your career, you know? So I think that's the hardest and most annoying part when fans and sometimes cornermen on the side of they don't look after the fighters. You know, I think, come on, man, you could have given your fighter maybe a little bit more better advice, or you could have pulled him out of there, or don't be so harsh on him, so to speak. And fans, because they don't understand how hard it is for a referee, especially when you make that split decision, that quick stoppage, or you might let a fight play out, and they go, oh, referee, you should have stopped it earlier. But no, like I always say, I'm the guy in the middle, and I can see exactly what's going on. If I'm not going in the middle, I can't see what's happening.
And the second part of that question, no prize for guessing, what's the best part of being a referee?
The best part about being a referee is knowing that I'm the guy there keeping those fighters safe. Honestly, yeah, I know it sounds cliche, oh yeah, referee's job to keep fighting. But honestly, knowing in there that two fighters can have a good fight, especially for the love of the sport, I know they can put up hopefully for the two fighters who are inside that cage or ring or octagon or whatever you want to call it, in there, it's for them to know that, hey, whether it's Dan, Mark, Leon, Grant, whoever it may be, Herb, that they're going to look after my safety, so I can go and throw down. I can give it my all, knowing that if I do get clipped and I get hurt, I know I'm not going to get seriously hurt because Dan's going to be in there, or Mark's going to be in there, or Leon's going to be in there to stop that fight and look after my safety. You know, and hopefully that helps the fans and helps the sport to let the fight progress and be the sport that it is today.
Defence rests his case, so no further questions, Your Honour. Me neither. No, Dan, honestly, we're very lucky to have you as part of the show and as a friend.
Appreciate that.
And I can't believe it took us this long to actually interview Daniel Movahedi about Daniel.
Listen, I wouldn't even call interviews. It's nice to have a chat, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I must say this. I tell you what, is, you know, the same way you came up to in Bama when I first met you. You went, hey, it's Dan Movahedi, right? I went, yeah. It's Dan Movahedi. So it was nice. So I'm sitting there, and Bruce comes up to me and goes, hey, it's your first rodeo, right? I'm like, yeah, it's my first rodeo. He was like, oh, okay. He was like, don't worry about anything, man. Just do it. He said, you must be more nervous that I'm going to fuck up your name, right? I'm like, as it goes, Bruce. Yeah, I am like, most people call him Movahedi. They can't get it. He was like, it's Movahedi, right? I went, fucking yeah, it's Movahedi. He went, just go and do what you got to do. And you know what I mean? Of course, you would expect for him, but just like little things kept me at ease there. Like every time he walked in, and I know he's one of your mentors. Every time he walked in, no matter what referee it was, what fight it was, he would come in, give you a little fist pump, going, "Have a good one, my friend." Every fight, awesome. And I'm like, do you know what? You know, you got to remember, he's been there since near enough day dot of the UFC, so he is UFC, so to speak. Yeah. And for him to come and do that to every referee, whether it be Goddard, Leon, myself, or Neil, to do that every fight to keep you at ease, I think that's fantastic. So that's definitely one of the things I'll take with me, which I loved. Hopefully, many more to come.
It's time to end
with Daniel
Movahedi. Well, we've been joined by Daniel Movahedi. Dan, absolute pleasure, my man. And
pleasure. And honestly, I mean this. We won't leave it this long again to be on the show, whether it be referee's corner, whether it be whatever it may be.
Just on for Helen's picks again. That's what I want. An absolute pleasure, my man. Enjoy the rest of your evening and say hello to the family.
Thank you very much, gents.
Take care.
All the best, man.
Take care. Bye.
Daniel Movahedi. Me and Bruce Buffer were one and the same. We can say Daniel Movahedi.
You can do it.
That's where the comparisons end.
The suits. Yeah. It's the suits.
The suits. We've just had one man on. Let's get another one on.
Let's do it.
And let's talk history, Rob. 2009.
It was a good year. I remember that fondly.
UFC 100 went down, and if you want to know a little bit about UFC 100, get ready because Rob is going to tell you. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see, and if you're listening on audio, sure, I'm about to tell you, we're not saying he's the best, we're just saying there ain't nobody better. Brendan Dorman is back on the OFT.
Thank you.
R&B is back. I absolutely love that comment.
Definitely a pop group.
Yeah, who said that? That wasn't a normal poster, I don't think.
Yeah, some comment there, but that was brilliant though.
Yeah.
We should definitely start a group.
I was like, oh, I didn't even get it at first until I read it through and I went, oh yeah.
Who can sing? I think Brendan can sing.
We got to do a cover one of these.
I definitely cannot.
Dead Mondays.
I've heard you sing plenty of times.
You want to hear me? I'm Bruno Mars. We normally do with Brendan. We obviously get Brendan on because he's one of the leading analysts in the world. So Brendan normally comes on and breaks cards down for us. But we're doing it slightly different this week. We're going to look back at history because in MMA history, as I said at the top of the show, it was Penny Lonzer, by the way, who commented. Back in 2009, a historical card took place. So for some of our listeners, you may not have been the biggest fan. So Rob is going to give a little bit of a talk about what UFC 100 was.
I thought you'd never ask, Noel. You
did. You typed it up, Rob. You knew I was asking.
Yeah, so UFC 100 was a historic milestone for the Ultimate Fighting Championship, going down on July 11th, 2009. So it's not quite this week, but we'll take it, in Las Vegas, Nevada. That event made history for being the most bought UFC pay-per-view of all time with a reported 1.6 million buys. It remained the pay-per-view record holder until UFC 202 broke that record with 1.65 million buys, just about. The card was headlined by Brock Lesnar defending his UFC heavyweight title in a grudge match against Frank Mir, the man who beat him in his UFC debut at UFC 81.
Let's talk about the main event, the Brock Lesnar-Frank Mir. Weirdly enough, Brock's back, but
I know. I was just thinking that.
It's proper in saying that he's back in. UFC 100 is landing now as well. But the build up to Mir Lesnar 2 was insane. Remember the whole? It was like the embedded. Did they even call it embedded then?
Where they had the two
vlogs,
wasn't it?
It was
Countdown, right? I think it was just Countdown.
I thought Dana White used to do vlogs. Remember?
Yeah, it wasn't on that though. It was. Remember they had Frank Mir sitting down in his gym watching the first fight and did Brock, and Brock was losing shit watching it. Like
He's like, he's not going to understand when I crossfoot 2, hit him with a fading 3 into a... He was like the most pretentious cunt ever that day. Man, I love Frank now. Like, I know him now. But I think he was selling it up as like heel versus heel almost. It was fucking weird. But it worked perfectly.
But as well with Mir.
Brock comes from that world, you know. But yeah, I remember. Brock punched the door, remember?
Yeah.
He showed him he's like, I wanted to punch the mustache off Mazzagati's face.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great shit. That fight, too, I don't know how deep you want to go into it, but I think that's Brock at his peak.
Best,
prime.
But as well with that Mir, if you remember, everyone was saying, "Oh, Mir's on roids here. Mir's on roids," because he got huge.
He went from like
240
to like 265
to 265, and he was like, "No, jacked." I pick things up, and the more you pick them up, the higher the numbers get, and the bigger you get.
Yeah.
But go on.
I've heard a few people say that.
Yeah, the fight itself, Brendan. Fair enough, it's 9 years ago. But what was the big tell for you? You just said you felt Brock was at his best then. That was prime time Brock Lesnar. What stood out for you most in that fight off memory?
His first round ability to take one of the greatest heavyweight black belts off of his back, especially. So for his guard of all, you could put Nogueira there, I guess, right? But he bested him. So then he become, you know what I mean? So let's just for the sake of argument call him the best heavyweight. Verdum, I guess, would be there too, right?
Yeah.
But he's up there. Best off of his back ever in the heavyweight division, and probably top 10 ever in MMA, right? Sure. Mir's guard was legendary. Brock's ability to stay in half guard and do the damage that he did with like a catch wrestling, old school kind of quarter Nelson thing to trap and then reset, and he was blocking the armpit. So Frank's arm is here, and what happened is Brock with his canned ham, hands was putting that here, and he kept feeding through it a grapevine and staying in half guard using his hips to trap, and he kept bashing that head, that arm that was around with the head, and punching this way every time, pulling in with this arm to punch in with this arm at the same time. And then as soon as he'd block up, he'd go to the body, and you could like hear the body shots like a fucking baseball bat off a cattle. It was just amazing. And then the second round, he did the same exact thing, but against the fence, and he ate a flying knee, or it looked like it. I've never seen the right angle on it, but it sure looked it, right? Yeah. He ate that, but he still got him down and got right back to that same position. And Mir clearly, in between rounds, whatever, could not adjust. He had no idea how to defend that, or took so much damage in the first, he kind of maybe was a little out of it. But flying knee kind of tells me otherwise. But those punches he rained down at the end were just, holy shit, terrifying. That guy that was fighting that night was a scary motherfucker, because he looked like he was getting better. Diverticulitis, will slow that down, or USADA, who knows, And I get a lot of the anti-Brock stuff going on right now, and I don't necessarily disagree, but I think it's a fascinating fight to watch, regardless.
What was even scarier was his reaction to the win when he went up to the camera and he like just spit. He was like, and there was like spit flying, and he was grabbing the cage.
Teeth weren't as bad then.
No, they weren't as bad then. Yeah, no. I wonder if he's getting veneers.
And then is that the fight where he turned around and went, "I'm gonna go home and drink a Coors Light, because they ain't giving me shit or something."
Yeah, because Bud Light ain't pay me nothing.
Bud Light pay me nothing, and I'm not even climbing up in the wife.
Why'd you get so country? He's country, but he's not that country.
He's not Minnesota.
He's different. He's like what we'd call like hillbilly farmer types.
Yeah.
Like he's not a hit. That's like what you're doing is like hickish.
Yeah.
They're two different kind of categories.
Minnesota.
Although they're really indistinguishable, honestly.
Minnesota. It's like the Fargo accent, isn't it?
Fargo.
He's not from there though. He went to college there. Yeah. He's from South Dakota.
All right.
Which is where Fargo is.
But 100%, he was like the Incredible Hulk that night. He was just not going to be broke or stopped. It was scary. Is the best way of doing it. Is 100%.
Very, very scary.
Like, after
the speed and the ferocity of those punches in the second round are they're scary.
Vicious.
It's scary. You can block that with whatever you want. You know what I mean? Kevlar. You're going to sleep.
Mir trying to block with his face.
But you get that fight for me, like when he beat Frank, you were like, who the fuck is going to stop this man?
Yeah.
And ironically, Shane Carwin almost did in his next fight.
Almost, close enough.
Because he caught him with that beautiful, like, leaning in uppercut. Because Brock was holding his guard very wide, and he would kind of keep it out without poking anyone in the eye. So, that long range, because Carwin had those giant mitts like Brock, and a long range, and great punching power. Better striking for sure. Yeah. And he hit that long, almost like bolo punch, like uppercut that caught Brock. And then he kept going, but fucking, it was always my hat tip to Rosenthal. One of the reasons I liked him was the result was the result. Like that's probably one of the hardest non-stops that someone got right ever. But
I rewatched that fight because it was on with the UFC 25 years. The Carmen fight. They had the UFC 25 and the best fights or whatever, and I was watching it. A lot of the shots that Carmen was landing when he had him up against the cage weren't actually landing clean. They were landing on a lot of the arms and stuff for Brock. Yeah.
Hence not stopping it. But how often, even Mendez's fight the other day. Like after that was called, the other kid got up, jury, he's like, all right, they're caught. Everyone understands the stopping it. It wasn't a bad stoppage. What I'm saying is oftentimes, even if they're deflected, they'll still just stop it if you don't attack back. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Co-main event was a guy, Georges Street Pierre. Is it George St. Pierre Thiago Alves? And I have to say, this was the first time at the time Thiago Alves was an absolute killer, and I thought this could be the guy to stop just his Muay Thai, the way he fought, I thought this could be the guy, if he can stop George, get implementing his game plan, this could be the guy to beat George St. Pierre. I was completely wrong. He got absolutely destroyed in the fight. But Talkus, that was we were talking about, that was primetime Brock Lesnar. This was primetime George St. Pierre.
I rewatched it today, although I kind of had to fast forward it in spots just to get through it because it was last minute.
Rounds,
But that said, of all the, because you got to remember, I didn't know anyone then, right? Yeah. I was watching as a fan, but for the most part, like I knew a few little people I trained with, but I didn't know George anyway. I was still like totally just a fan. And of all his fights ever, that was probably the most like afraid I was, you know, as a fan, you know, like watching, going like, this guy, man, he's scary, because he had shown all this incredible takedown defense. I think he was on a 7-fight or 8-fight win streak against a row of killers. Back then, 170 was absurd, you know,
crazy. Disgusting.
And he flew into that flying knee on Matt Hughes, who he just totally outclassed. He had that beautiful Ernesto Hughes chopping leg kick off the left hook. You know, we all call it the Dutchie now, but that wasn't the most common term, you know, when that fight happened anyway. But George hit some nice ones of his own, and he kickboxed. He outstruck him, and obviously grappled when he needed to as well. That was a masterclass, a 5-round masterclass.
Yeah, his takedowns in that fight were incredible, especially when Alves fought the likes of Matt Hughes and Josh Koscheck just before that.
Right. It was almost like the perfect opponents to set you up to fight George St. Pierre.
Okay, I'm good now.
It's like you're upgrading. It's like, all right, upgrade, and then you run into GSP.
And he didn't land a glove on George. Didn't land a glove.
And here's something important, and I've touched on this with you guys probably a while ago when I told you Danaher said this to me at one point, and obviously if he said it to me, because John tends to repeat things, which is the sign of a genius like himself, is that, you know, mixing up your grappling, you know, learn Sambo, learn judo takedowns, learn Greco, learn freestyle, learn everything in grappling and treat it like it's your mixed martial arts. George is obsessive, so he did. He learned all of his wrestling technique basically from, like, I think Iranians and Russians. Wow. Like, probably living in Canada, but, you know, either way, it's more technique based and timing based than it is strength, you know, like muscling through the takedowns. So if you watch his takedowns in that fight in particular, like, he does this one where they both kind of exchange. George throws like a jab cross, something pretty simple, maybe an inside leg kick, and then Thiago tries to flurry back. George intercepts with a jab, but then like does a lean, like he's going to do a pull counter, but instead counters with a shot and goes to take him down. Thiago pulls the arm up, and George then turns that into a high underhook and knee taps him.
Remember that.
It's so like, and he does it like, it's all sequitur, as if he's done that sequence, which is not a common sequence, 3,000 times, you know? It was, if you're a fan of takedowns and grappling or whatever, that was an absolute fucking masterclass. Yeah. He took him, I don't think he missed too many takedowns. The one thing I forgot about was that Thiago swept him at one point and was on top for like 45 seconds, which you don't see much from George, you know? Yeah, I can't remember that. Fighting off his back.
He also pulled his groin, George.
Yeah.
And then he hit him with it.
Hit him with it. That was Jackson that said that, right?
Yeah, Jackson.
Yeah.
Would you say that you were impressed by his performance?
I was impressed by his performance. That was I would say that was prime George right there, right on there.
Another fight that created a logo was Dan Henderson's knockout, and still to this day,
forearm shiver.
Probably the most unnecessary follow-up shot ever in mixed martial arts.
This week we're talking some shit now. We're talking some shit.
Yeah, but like.
Yeah, there's no need for that. He was out, and Dan knew he was out. Dan was smiling on the way down.
Because if you like, you guys understand Bisping's humor. You know, a lot of people may not. I do. I get it. Some of his shit talk, I don't know. Is it ever like? Has he ever said anything? Well, the OL thing maybe pushed a little. Yeah. He's done a few things that.
He's done a few.
I kind of trust Masvidal because I know him a little bit, so that's a little shaky. But let's take those two away for a minute. Let's go back to 100 pay-per-views or whatever. I don't think he said anything that was that bad. It was just shit talking. Did you really need to like almost end the dude's life? Seriously, he was so out. He was completely out, comatose out, and he threw a leaping forearm shiver with all of his mass. You know, I mean,
Like,
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fighting.
When he got up, he like just dragged his elbow across his face. It's like, ugh.
Oh my god! Remember how stiff?
Yeah, and he was.
His things like his neck went real up.
It was pulsating.
You know?
His neck was pulsating. It was vicious.
Oh, I gotta remember. How do I say it? Because I get jeered for this.
What?
I would say that was one of the hardest to watch
right?
ever.
Oh yeah, I would say it's memes, isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's memes or memes.
We say memes.
I say
Memes.
meme as well, but I heard it was meme.
But that biz being the that is a complete meme. Like it's everywhere. Like yeah. But wow, what an insane knockout!
Yeah.
Christ almighty.
You know who fought on the undercard on that?
Johnny
on that pay-per-view?
Bones.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that fight even. That was early.
So did Mark Coleman. He fought Stephen Bonner on the undercard.
Yeah, and won.
He won,
We were with John Jones with that fight. Here's one. Here's one for you. I'll give you this one for free. When we were sitting watching that, I was sitting and watching it with my wife, my girlfriend at the time, and she said about John Jones, he's going to be the best fighter in the world.
No way.
Watching that fight.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So who knew? Wendy is like the mystic.
Get her in there.
I'll leave, and Wendy can come in and host this. But yeah, she said She said he's going to be a world champion, the best fighter in the world. There you go.
That's awesome.
I was dating a girl at the same time, like right around that time. Actually, that time. Whatever John Jones' next fight, I believe, was. It wasn't for the title. I think it was when he beat. Who did he beat right before? Was it Brandon Vera? No.
Well,
who did he beat right before the title shot?
I think he lost to well, he didn't
lose,
but the Matt Hamill.
I know
was after that.
No, not that.
Brandon
Vera.
Was
after Matt Hamill?
Matt Hamill. Remember, he was 9-0. He lost to Matt Hamill with disqualification.
Yeah.
What was before Shogun? Who did he fight?
Was it Bader before Shogun? Yeah, Ryan Bader.
Okay, so remember how he dismantled him. Yeah. I think that was a mounted guillotine, maybe.
Yeah, he was just mounted.
Finished, but he just went through him like a hot knife through butter. And I remember watching that with said girlfriend because she used to pretend to like the UFC anyway. And I remember saying after that, I'm like, no one's stopping this dude. Yeah. I knew it then, but I didn't know him then.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't until later.
That was Honest John.
Not too long after.
That was Bible reading.
Yeah, it was. That was, good,
mugging, saving.
Good guy,
John Jones.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
John was an interesting one.
Philippians fucking Bible verse on it? Yeah.
Remember the opener to the main card? Akiyama made his UFC debut, and he comes out for the first time.
That's Sexyama, right?
Sexyama, yeah.
Who do you fight? Alan
Belcher.
Or something?
Alan Belcher. Who kind of looks like Jake
Belcher, yeah.
With the dodgy Johnny Cash tattoo.
Great Johnny Cash tattoo.
Yeah, it's dodgy. It's super dodgy. But I just love that because the start of it, he comes out to the Time to Say Goodbye song, which is just the weirdest MMA song to come out to, but it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Belcher. His best performance, in my opinion, was against Paul Harris.
Oh yeah. He played footsie.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, he played.
He just said, "Fuck it, I'll learn leg locks. You know, I'm gonna learn everything about him." That was brilliant.
That was the first time you really seen Paul Harris break.
But when you look at the rest, look at the rest of the card as well and how historical it was, like John Fitch on the card fighting Paulo Thiago.
Wasn't that weird one where the pay-per-view started too late or something, and they had to have that fight last?
There was some kind of blackout or something.
Yeah, and they had that fight last, which is weird.
Dong Hom King took on TJ Grant on it. Tom Lawler got a win over CB Dollaway.
Shannon Gougarty.
It was
who later went on to lose to our own Roddy.
That's our own Roddy.
Our own Roddy.
Great stuff.
Oh my God, great stuff. Pat on the back.
You don't know it. Little R&B, brother.
But in all the side of it, I remember like the UFC, they really put a lot of promotional power behind UFC 100.
Yeah, it was
they
big time.
Really pushed it, and rightfully so. And then it was quite funny. Young Sean said to me today in work. He says, "Isn't a man that they tried to do the same push with 200 and it felt as shit."
I wouldn't say it felt
as shit. The
card wasn't great, but still.
I need a yellow mat.
Well. Yeah, the yellow. I didn't like the yellow mat.
Oh, the yellow mat.
Yeah, the yellow mat was awful.
That was an eyesore. You know what's weird watching Brock back then and Brock in 200 is he looked lighter on his feet against Mark Hunt. Like his footwork got better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still some defensive.
Remember, he just
bounced, but he does this like hop. It's not. Listen, he's not Petrosian. You know, it's not Lomachenko. I get it.
Wait, what?
Like,
he's not.
I'm just saying there was some progress.
He beat the fucking Undertaker.
Yeah.
True. He ended the streak.
Yeah.
Fucking GOAT status. DC. See ya. Sorry, pal.
Get out of here.
That's the thing.
Get out of here.
Triple threat match.
Yeah. Fatal 4-way.
Is that a real
TLC.
Fatal 4-way
Tables,
sounds like
ladders,
something you'd look up
chairs.
on a porn site. A fatal 4-way.
I'm sure it's on the dark web. I guarantee you it is.
Oh, absolutely.
But what an
Fatal
absolute
4-way
barn
too.
burner of a card.
Awesome card.
Isn't it mad? Like it's like, I don't know, Brendan, you know when someone says to you 20 years ago, when someone says to me 20 years ago, I think of the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? 20 years ago, you go the 70s. No.
20 years ago, not when I was about to graduate high school or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
98.
No.
No, we mean 78. 20 years ago. And that's why when you think of UFC 100, it doesn't seem that long ago.
No. But
And yet it was fucking 9 years ago.
it's insane.
That's so insane.
We've come a long way, boys.
Come a long way.
It's crazy some of them are still around.
Yeah,
9
it
years
is.
ago.
And
Like, I'm still at the top.
John Jones.
Yeah.
If he
Brock
didn't-
Lesnar's going to fight for a heavyweight title, for fuck.
If John Jones didn't do a
Jesus.
shitload of coke and other things, he'd be like the greatest fighter on the planet.
Yep.
But chicken egg, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Chick
Was he
egg.
doing? Not the. I don't think coke is a performance enhancer, really.
Yeah.
But it could be. I don't know
never
if you've
know.
seen any bar fights where one person's on coke.
I've seen a few friends get a little
Yeah,
aggressive
I
on
know, I don't
cocaine.
know
So
how far we want to go, but
Yeah.
you could help in one regard.
Yeah.
It would kill you in every other.
Yeah.
Maybe literally. But the other PEDs, I don't know, man.
But
he had those. He got that funky little gynecomastia thing. Never a good sign.
you could. Would you argue? Although obviously the superstars have changed. When you look at that card, was that the best aligning of the stars that a UFC event has ever had?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just pay-per-view offering, like as in the pay-per-view stars. Yeah, like Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson and Michael Bisping as a pair were huge. And then obviously GSP.
You really, if you go old school MMA, all you're
You have
missing.
two of the three biggest draws ever.
Yeah, GSP.
Oh, main event.
Yeah.
Out of it, you're probably missing
At the time?
Obviously, at the time, Chuck would have been done then, wouldn't he? Chuck was in.
How about this? If we put Conor and Brock on the same, let's say Brock and DC fight and Conor and Khabib fight on the same card, it's it's the equivalent almost.
Yeah, that's the
it
closest.
really is in almost every sense.
Yeah.
Conor Smith.
Now I think that would do like 2 million. I think it would do 2+.
On Chuck, by the way, on Chuck, UFC 97, he was knocked out by Shogun. His last fight was UFC 115 against Rich Franklin. So yeah, he was pretty much done.
Well, I was going to say something slagging there, and I can't remember. It's gone.
I was going to slag you there.
It was something Khabib getting knocked out. What did you make of Conor in with best mates Putin?
Treasonous, according to all the former cunts that used to be in office in my country.
Jesus, this shit got political.
God, got political fast, didn't it? Boy, that escalated.
Well, isn't it political? Trump's talking to Putin today, and I see all these fucking liberal retards watch fucking CNN going like, this is treason. He wants peace. He wants peace. Treason.
I love when Brendan does an American accent.
It's treason. I heard it in class earlier. Treason. It's a hanging for that.
It's like us saying, top of the morning to you.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's
fucking absurd. Oh, we don't want peace. The one place on earth. If us two go to war, we're all dead. Just, we'll all die.
We're not. Everyone loves the Irish to divide us. Everyone loves
you guys,
the Irish.
We're fucking divided too. No. And we're doing it to ourselves because this bullshit is a big TV right there that I never fucking turn on for that reason.
We get some use out of that. It's grand.
By the way,
sorry, went on a rant there.
This is Brendan Dorman, Joe Rogan famous at this stage. When's that happening, Brendan?
I should be more PC.
When are you going to be on Rogan? Come on. I want to see it.
The more you all put I know Joe well enough to know not to ask. How about that?
Oh, well, you shouldn't have that.
Let's all push for it.
It should be on there. And
it's going to take everyone else asking him.
In your OFT or in your OFT contract, when you go on Joe Rogan, you do have to say. So when I was talking to Rob and Nolan, obviously Fight Talks, which is available on Spotify,
you have to go through the whole
Podcast
spiel.
Republic, YouTube channel, just hit them. So, and then you can make your point about whatever it is. And then if you're talking about Khabib, you go, well, when I'm on obviously Fight Talk, when I'm talking, it's every 3 to 4 sentences we have to be dropped in there.
I'll make a deal with you because you guys have been so good to me. if that does happen, even if it's like fight companion, let's say that seems more reasonable. Just allegedly.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, imagine you and Brendan Schaub on Fight Companion.
I don't think we'll both be there at the same time.
Okay.
Although I bet I could make up with that guy in 6 minutes, and I don't even know if he knows who the fuck I am. To be honest, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Locked him in a room for 6 minutes.
I think he would, and then pretend he didn't, kind of thing.
And then he'd be like,
Other people
lose
have
my
done
number.
that before.
No, do you know what would be brilliant? You just said if you could make up with him in 6 minutes. Do you know what would be brilliant? Lock them in a room for 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Get them out of there so there's still 5 seconds of recovery needed, and then record. I think that'd be fantastic.
No, he'd fuck me up. He's a
Question though,
UFC
did you see? You got to give credit, I think, where credit is due. There was a little back and forth with him and Mr. Dana White.
Oh Jesus!
Did you like what he said to Dana?
Are you asking me if it's true?
Did you see what he said about Dana though? I thought it was
about snow buddies.
Yeah.
Okay, here's how I feel about it. Both of them can mislead a lot of people often, so it's hard for me to pick a side there.
Yeah.
With Schaub, sometimes he talks about technique in a sense that is just over his head, and that's not because he wasn't a good fighter or anything. He obviously was a good athlete and a really good fighter. He made it. He did fairly well in the UFC. So to call him a bomb is ridiculous. From someone, especially people that have never fought, it's fucking ridiculous. So I'm not going to critique him on that. But he doesn't understand, say, boxing or kick. You know what I mean? So he gets into these striking things, the GSP jab, like him and Callan. I'm like, you guys, man, you're so fucking wrong. An intercepting jab is like, that's like Golden Gloves when you're 16 shit. Yeah. That's not like advanced striking. That's what I would call like maybe advanced basics, maybe. And he was so off. He does that a lot, right? So. Hard on that hand. Dana and I have had our issues. Hard on that hand. See them both. So it's tough in that regard for me to go, this one's right, this one's right. I respect his moxie, though, to go, fuck you.
Yeah, that's what I like to it.
Yeah. Although.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Dana's a gangster. That's all I'm going to say.
Dana?
Yeah.
In a good sense or in a bad sense? Because
Dana, I think, don't get me wrong, with fighters, the way he's talking to Brendan Schaub, I think he's a keyboard warrior. Dana. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough.
Well, they would all fuck him up. I just said, and I'm not afraid. I mean, I'm not afraid of, like, whatever. I'd fight him, but he'd win. I'm
Head here first, folks. Brendan Dorman v. Brendan Schaub.
Pay-per-view. For me to think I could beat a UFC, I fought it, when I competed, it was 170, 185. I should have been 185, really. It was really hard on my body to do 170. So, just my frame. Yeah. So, to think that I could beat a heavyweight is fucking, from the UFC? Is absurd. No, he'd kill me.
Dana's
I get
a heavyweight.
it, but that doesn't mean that he's smarter than me.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But that said, I love his moxie. I love that he said.
I enjoyed it too.
But you know what I'm saying? It's hard. If anything, I liked Israel's play on everything because it made me laugh.
Yeah. I think Israel though, he was looking at I think Shaw was talking about Saki. So, but you know.
He was.
Yeah. So it was a bit.
He was, but then Israel showed another clip.
Yeah.
Of Rogan talking about Stylebender and Schaub's like ticking. Yeah. It's just the way Israel does it's funny.
Yeah,
it's not even whether he's right or wrong. It's hilarious. I don't know. That guy cracks me up.
Brandon, anyway. we got to let you go because we've got another call on the line. It's a pleasure as always talking to you. It was good looking back in history. And man, your memory of all these techniques and stuff from that. I've got to remember the cards, but your detail is phenomenal.
I just remember a punch landing and that's it.
Keep it up, buddy. And that DC video was doing exceptionally well for you. Good points as well. And I think as much as people might look at it, and you know, people, if you're a Stipe fan, you look at it that way. If you're a DC fan, you look at it that way. But the one thing I can guarantee you, Brendan Dorman looks at that as a neutral, straight down the line.
Straight down the pipe.
And it's an excellent video. And well
Great
done.
stuff, man.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, and you... For anyone that doesn't know, I may share this for my own channel, but I'm pretty fucking impartial, honestly.
100%.
Of all the analysts ever,
I'll
tell you, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Is I don't try to hide that at all. I don't try to be impartial there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in this case, I said before, and I'm saying now. So nothing's changed before fight, after fight. I had no dog in that race.
Yeah.
I just saw what I saw, and I didn't like that no one was talking about it that had some kind of a voice. So I felt like I should probably step in and give a case for the other side of things.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it, it's not like you are getting the video and you're fucking using special effects to do this. It's all there for everybody to watch.
We did a full preview show, and in the preview show, we both kind of almost the whole preview for that fight was, man, Cormier is getting no respect here. He has a really good shot at winning this.
Yes,
that was the whole thing.
So, exactly.
Yeah. So,
and then before the fight, I'm like, my head says Cormier should win this.
Yeah.
When they started moving around,
it was a bit dodge. A few eye pokes.
It just is what it is. It's just information.
Eye pokes make champions.
Crazy.
Eye pokes make champions. There you are, that was Brendan Dorman. We were looking back in history, UFC 100. For me, it's still the standout card that when someone says, it's almost like the go-to point, Rob, when someone goes, what was the best UFC card you think of? You go, right, 100. And then you start thinking, and then you go, oh, well, maybe that done better. But
yeah, like, I think it's not the most exciting card for me. Like, there's been cards with better fights, but that was like just a spectacle of sort. Yeah,
it was an absolute spectacle's the right word.
Spectacle.
Speaking of spectacles... Terrible gag. If you're watching, I took my glasses off. Anyway, this has been obviously Fight Talk episode 115. If you're at this stage and you've made it this far and you haven't subscribed, sure, do it now. Check us out on Spotify as well, and on the Podcast Republic. We're featured there. Go and leave a review if it's only 5 stars. If it's 4 stars or below, forget about it. Fight Star Ireland, MMA Mix, and to Feel Supreme.
I just wanted to say something. Join me on Wednesday. I'm going to be joined by Jason of MMA on Point to chat about some stuff on Wednesday, live, around 8 o'clock ish.
Wonderful. You've no World Cup on, so you may as well have Palin.
Yeah. Do it.
And MMA Point.
Yep.
But yeah, listen, folks, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week, because I'm a one show a week guy. I'm old. It's what happens. I'm like Andre the Giant. You only roll him out for special occasions.
Roll.
This has been 115.
Peace.